Jurgita Ludaviciene. And Jurgita is a chief exhibition curator at the Lithuanian National Museum of Art, an art critic, and associate professor at the Vilnius Academy of Arts. Welcome. Little applause for you. And is it
Thank
on?
you.
Yes, and keep it
It's on.
close. Yes. And here you go.
So, thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be here. It's my first time in Finland. Yes, I'm happy and I'm very nervous. So just have mercy with my English and in general. So, yeah, I had to choose serious title for my presentation, and it's about Iron Vilnius, context of iron in history and contemporary art. But actually, the real title of my presentation should be How I Felt in Love with Iron. My love affair with iron and how it turned out into the exhibition. So, actually, yeah, my love affair with metal and especially with iron began more than 30 years ago, 35 years ago, and it was not in Lithuania but in Estonia. I was married to a metal artist who was not only a jewelry artist but also a wonderful blacksmith. And he studied in Tallinn because during the Soviet times it was the only possibility to go to study after professional school. If you wanted to study metal art, you had to go to Tallinn. So we married, and I went with my then husband to Tallinn. I was on the academic leave, so I had absolutely nothing to do. And I was actually wandering around, disturbing the jewelry students, trying to talk to them. Nobody talked to me at that time. But I was kind of forced to know this surrounding and to know metal art in general. And the place where the real magic happened, it was a forge. It was really, it was dark, it was sooty, it was loud. It was impossible to talk to anyone. But actually, it was real, all the cliches were there, and I was also there. And it was real pure magic. So for me, I spent really most of this year I spent in Forge. Actually marveling. It was really, blacksmith became to me as a kind of mythical person who works with 4 elements, with earth, air, water, and fire. Kind of really, so okay, half deity, half god, half devil. Yeah, I know it sounds cheesy, but you have to start somewhere. And yes, this love, I really kept this love even when I came back to Lithuania, and I found mythological background to this because yes, in Lithuania, Kalvis or Televelis, a blacksmith, is called Televelis in pagan mythology. He is the Lithuanian god of blacksmiths. And Kalvis, blacksmith, is divine creature who creates the sun every morning and makes rings from iron. So the deity Aušrinė, which means dawn, can marry it. So the dawn marries the sun every morning with the help of the blacksmith. So, but the blacksmith is also assistant of Perkūnas, so it's Lithuanian most important god, our Zeus. And he is closely, so blacksmith is closely related to the devil, and devil reigns into the underworld. So actually, blacksmith, devil, or blacksmith is someone who can possess the souls. And I think something happened to me as well. So my soul became possessed, and it still is. And if you think that it was only in paganism, so we are Lithuanians are the last pagans of Europe. We are very proud of it. Yeah, somehow it happened. Yeah, but still, 700 years after paganism, at the end of 20th century, a legend still has been recorded in Lithuania in Pakruojis district, and it tells, like, in the olden days, there was a man who was a blacksmith. Then it was dark everywhere, night and night, so this blacksmith decided to forge the sun. He took a shining iron, forged it, and struck it. Then, climbing on the highest roof, he threw it into the sky. And to this day, it still stands there. So, and in Lithuania, actually, what you can see on the picture, there is an iron cross, and it's traditional iron cross. So this iron cross is on the tower of the Catholic Church, but actually is very, very traditional, and it's still called the Little Suns. So it comes from paganismus. This photo comes from 1912 by Jan Bulhak. So my obsession with blacksmiths and blacksmithing continued, but then I turned my attention to not to the craft, but to the material. It means to the iron. And so let's go from Tallinn to Vilnius. And Vilnius is actually absolutely related to iron. In what way? So in Lithuania, we have a legend about how Vilnius has been erected. So, and Lithuanian legend says that our Grand Duke Gediminas, he fell asleep on the mountain and dreamed of an iron wolf that howled very loudly. And when he woke up, he asked his sorcerer Lizdeika to explain what it meant. And the sorcerer said that it meant that Gediminas would build a city on the hill, on the mountain, the sound of which would spread as far as the howling of the iron wolf could be heard. So Vilnius became with iron, so it started from iron. Vilnius was founded in 3023, and 2 years ago it celebrated his 700 years anniversary. So iron lies really at the very heart of Vilnius. And here you can see, so this is the beginning of the exhibition, but I will go explain it further. But here you can see this real fur of this iron wolf, who appeared in the dream of Grand Duke Gediminas. Yeah, so, and here you can see this hill. So now we are looking at this part, and you can see this hill where Gediminas fell asleep, and this is remaining tower of Gediminas Castle. Yeah, so after spending this year in the forge in Tallinn, and then continued with my love to iron, actually I began to pay special attention to this material. So I started noticing it in the city. It means the city is full of iron. It has balconies, it has gates, it has weather vanes, handles. So everywhere, actually, you can see iron. And I began to understand actually what an important role it plays in the city. But at the same time, I was very surprised that others didn't see it. Actually, when some iron gate disappears from the city, no one seems to miss it. Like, yeah, was someone there? Somebody, yeah, something? No, I don't remember. Yeah, and another thing, what I noticed actually that iron work is often not perceived as object itself, but as an obstacle. Actually, when we see a gate somewhere, we are trying to pass through them. It's an obstacle. We are trying to look through them. If there are bars or grills, we also look through them. It's disturbing us. It's an obstacle, not an object. Yeah, and even in the titles of paintings or etchings, the architectural elements behind the gates are named, but not the gates themselves. So like they don't exist. And that felt very wrong to me. Actually, I started thinking how to change it, and the main reason to make the exhibition, it was actually not the 700 years anniversary of Vilnius, but I wanted to give the iron its credit. So, and then, yes, I wanted to make exhibition about Vilnius and iron. Yeah, and this is fragments from the exhibition. I made this exhibition in the Museum of Applied Art and Design, Vilnius. In Vilnius, this is part of Lithuanian National Museum of Art. As a curator, you not only have to create a concept, but you also have to think about how to show it, how to present it. So you have to work on both sides. And how to show this credit, how to show my affection and respect to iron through the lenses of the city. So every single object I showed there, I measured it by two criteria. So it has to be from iron, and it has to be related with Vilnius. So 2 filters. Yeah, and I divided the exhibition into 3 parts. So the first part, first aspect, it was lost iron. Lost iron, it means, small architecture objects or not so small architecture objects made of iron, but they don't exist anymore. And of course, so the only possibility to show them are pictures and photography. So, and here you can see one of the iconic signs of iron in Vilnius. It's called the Green Bridge. But now we have a new Green Bridge, you will see it. This is the old one. It's made in the first in the 14th century, but this was in the end of the 19th century. It was first it was from wood, then it was made from iron and painted green. Since then, it's called the Green Bridge, and it was very important bridge in Vilnius. Yeah, so it was then, later on, it was redesigned, also kept painted green. And still, in Vilnius, everyone knows where the Green Bridge is. Even it looks different, and you... Yeah, this is another look of the Green Bridge. This is the current look, but without the sculptures. Because the next one, Green Bridge, was built after the Second World War by Projekt Stalkonstrukcija from Leningrad Design Institute. And important part was that the sculptures were erected. So 4 sculptural groups depicting key symbols of Soviet ideology. It was soldiers, young students, farmers, and laborers. And the photo by Remigius Pačėsa shows this one of the sculptural group. And the sculptures, they spent 63 years on the bridge. It was really a symbolic marker of Vilnius, but a symbolic marker which meant occupation. And yeah, in the beginning of 21st century, they started, people started to have discussions about them, what to do with public art. They were made from cast iron. So it's iron in the city, but it's this kind of iron what we don't want to see. And yeah, then they were removed from the bridge in 2015. So it's lost iron, not that so it's, yeah, I don't miss them, but yeah, still it was a part of our history. Another lost iron, it's Cannon Foundry, founded in the middle of 16th century, but there is no signs at all nowadays. So it was erected by King Sigismund Augustus, and the name of this place, it's Puškarnė, which means cannon place. But actually I managed to find just a postcard and not a single cannon in Vilnius, in no museum. So like, yeah. So I could make another exhibition about objects, what I thought I will show, but they don't exist. Yeah, so, and the next one, so another image of iron is, of course, progress. So progress because iron means railway. And I wanted to show the image of the construction of railway tunnel from the 19th century and captured in the middle of 19th century by Abdon Korzun, one of the first photographer of Vilnius. Yeah, you can see how it was built and how the workers are posing proudly. And actually, yes, so in the middle of 19th century, iron arrived to Vilnius and brought progress. So this tunnel doesn't exist anymore still. Yeah. And the next, yeah. Next is, so this painting made by a Jewish artist, Litvak, which means Jewish artists living in Lithuania or related to Lithuania, Rafael Chvoles, ruins of the great synagogue in Vilnius in winter. But you can clearly see it's gates, not the ruins of synagogue. So this is symptomatical, actually, how we are perceiving iron. Yeah, but yeah, in Vilnius we had a huge community of Jewish people. Vilnius was called Jewish Jerusalem, but unfortunately during the Second World War the vast majority of Jewish people they were killed, or they managed to escape from Vilnius. And Rafael Chvoles, yeah, he came back and saw as a duty to capture the remaining ruins in the Vilnius old town, in Vilnius ghetto, where the Jewish synagogue was. And yeah, so those gates doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, and the second moment is invisible iron, which means, so iron still exists, we can see it, nobody does. Nobody pays any attention. Yeah, it came from somewhere, was made by elves or dwarfs, I don't know, but somehow, yeah. And Invisible iron, so I started with this image because this is one of the most typical touristic attractions in Vilnius. So not attractions, actually. So this is one of the most important religious places in Vilnius. This is a chapel of the Gate of Dawn in Vilnius. This is very important Catholic place. It has a holy picture, and it's a part of city wall. So, and everyone was asking, why are you putting this this chapel, Gate of Dawn, into the exhibition? And because of lanterns. Actually, so for me, it was important that those gates still have iron lanterns coming from the middle of 19th century. So they might have been repaired, but they look exactly the same. Yeah, so again, this iron crosses, iron, so this little suns erected on the towers of Vilnius Catholic churches. Yeah, they still exist. Yeah, but of course they are high there. So it's okay. It's difficult to spot them. And now it's a little bit from the Soviet time. I mean, so it's the gates of St. Anne Church. And the gates, of course, they are from the 16th century, but it's photo from by Antanas Miežanskas, and with a sign forbidden. So it says in Russian, forbidden, and the photo comes from the 70s. Yeah, but it still exists. So the church has a wonderful, not only gates, but it has massive doors made with beautiful blacksmithing work. But yeah, so for me it was actually quite symptomatical to see this sign. Don't go. Yeah, and here iron grills. In the 60s and 70s, they were used to protect trees, and some of them still remain in some districts of Vilnius. And this ornamentation of the grills is very typical to Lithuanian art in 60s and 70s. So this featuring Lithuanian folk plant motifs. Now, almost every single grill has been replaced into the more modern and more ugly ones, but they're still there. Here, I wanted to feature one Lithuanian sculpture, artist Teodoras Kazimieras Valaitis. Yeah, and he made one of the most beautiful sculpture in public space. Yeah, Valaitis worked with iron, not only with wrought iron, but also with steel. He made, for example, decorative walls from the steel details. He took out the details from vacuum cleaners and made from the steel decorative walls. So Valaitis was very inventive. Actually, yeah, he died tragically and very early. But this sculpture, Wind Vane, was made in 1973. And so we have a model of this made from iron, and this one still stays in Lazdynai, outside of, so a little bit into, this is the new district, also built in at the beginning of 80s. And as my colleague, art historian Erika Grigoravičienė said, so the abstract minimalist Wind Vane was not only the first abstract and kinetic sculpture in Lithuania, but was also an excellent example of Aesopian language, of metaphorical language. It showed the direction the wind was blowing from, and as we know, in Lithuania, the wind usually blows from the west. Yeah, so this is not a mistake. I'm showing the same photo twice, but now we have to look into this work because we are coming to the third part of the exhibition, and I was thinking how to call it, and I called it Inspiring Iron because I wanted to show the artistic bond between Iron and Vilnius, and I wanted to make it through contemporary art. And this is the most hated art piece in the public space. Yeah, so even if we have iron in the city, we don't just perceive it a barrier. So iron, I got an impression that iron somehow has to serve. So if it's in its place, as a gates, as a bar, yeah, then it's okay. But if it's a contemporary art piece, we hate it. So, and this is most hated piece by Vladas Urbanavičius, which calls Key Arch, and the sculpture is made from the gas pipes who were dug out of the ground in Russia and Ukraine and brought to Lithuania. But everyone was saying, oh, this is just a pipe, I can do it. So, but now it became also one of the icons of Vilnius. But in the exhibition, of course, I couldn't show it. I showed the other sculpture by Vladas Urbanavičius. It's called Barrier. And for me, it's like exactly what it says. So it's an obstacle, but it's also a wonderful, beautiful piece of iron, rusty piece. And Vladas Urbanavičius, he loves to work with old pieces of metal. He calls it borrowed forms. Yeah, another Lithuanian contemporary artist working with iron is Mindaugas Navakas. And also, he works with iron in public space. You can see his one of the most famous works. It's called Hook, Kablys, attached to the former railway workers' palace of culture. So this Stalinist building became contemporary through the hook of Mindaugas Navakas. And in the exhibition, I showed other pieces which title is Good Steel. Good steel, so the pieces are rusty. They are looking like working tools. And Navakas loves it. He loves rust because it resembles blood. The sculpture loves it too, so this connection is deliberately. So, and personal Vilnius. So this is the sculpture of Lithuanian artist Nerijus Erminas, made from the real post box when he moved to Vilnius. So he lived in an old house, and this post box was removed from this house and turned to the sculpture. Yeah. And there is connection with military, because you can't escape this association. So if you're talking about iron, you're talking about war. So I wanted to show a sculpture of Rimantas Milkintas, triple or trident, and the sculpture was created in 2022 when Russians war started. And the sculpture is made from the construction, from leftover, actually, when the new district has been built, so the old had to be demolished, and from the iron parts, Rimantas Milkintas made the sculpture. And I wanted to create historical perspective and to show a demolished building from the Second World War. So with this iron constructions. Yeah, and here is the military piece itself. So I mean, so this is tanks, Soviet tanks from the Soviet 5th Tank Division. And the pieces, which looks like a modern sculpture, they are actually part of the tank. So, and here is the moment when three states clashed, iron from 3 states clashed on the bridge. So from Poland, because it was on the border from Poland to Lithuania, and it was the Russian tank, so Poland, Lithuanian, and Russia. So, and then I'm going to the end. Yeah, and the last thing I wanted to show how iron can be perceived in other medias. So this is graphics. Matas Duda, he is a graphic artist, and he printed, he made prints from iron parts, from metal parts, which he found in the car parks, so abandoned car parks, and he wrote the stories how and where he founded them. And paintings, Eglė Ridikaitė, she painted, she made the whole series of painting about balconies of Vilnius. So this is the real scale of balconies. So she recreated and so made them visible. So Vilnius balconies. Yeah. Here, a sculpture by Ramūnas Alminas, Far, Far Away. So it's the title, and made from steel plates. And for me, it's something between painting and sculpture, because it's made from oxidized steel, and you can look into it, and yeah, symbolically, I can see far away looking at iron. Yeah, and this is a little bit play. Ričardas Šileika, poet, writer, he collects everything, every small thing he can find. So, and he has a huge collection of small iron pieces found in various places. And for the exhibition, he gave me 33 little iron pieces, and we made it as a little iron pieces gallery. And we placed it wherever in the hall, on the ceilings, everywhere that the audience, the public, could play with us. So actually, that's it. It could be much more, and it could have been much more. But still, I'm still possessed. My soul is still not free. And yes, so Iron Wolf is still howling, and Eija heard it, this howl, and she invited me. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Jurgita. So Vilnius is all about iron, and we can feel your passion towards this material. So thank you.